Welcome to your go-to podcast for uncovering the science behind essential oils. I'm Paige, and today we're diving into one of the most famous oils in the world, doTERRA lavender. Lavender has long been celebrated for its calming aromas and soothing properties. But what does the science say? From its impact on relaxation to its skin-supporting benefits, we'll explore the latest research and uncover why this essential oil remains a staple in so many homes. Dr. Riggs and Dr. Osgathorpe are the experts sharing their insights on lavender essential oil. I'm going to turn it over to them.
I'm Dr. Brannick Riggs, Vice President of Essential Oil Education here at doTERRA. And today we're going to explore the exceptional qualities of lavender essential oil. I have with me our guest, Dr. Russell Osgathorpe, dear friend of mine. He is our Chief Medical Officer here at doTERRA. Welcome.
Thank you. It's so fun to be here with you, Brannick. I think sometimes at doTERRA, you and I don't get to do as much as we would like together.
Yeah, we're not seen much together. It's like I'm at one event, you're at a different event.
You're in one side of the world, I'm on the other. But so it's nice to be with you.
It's fun to be with you. We've had this long friendship for a number of years, and now it's nice to be able to just be on screen a little bit.
Yeah, and we can talk about some of our favorite things.
Yeah. So lavender essential oil, it is really an amazing oil. It's used worldwide, has a lot of known uses for it.
Probably the best known essential oil worldwide, I would say.
Yeah, but what sets doTERRA's lavender essential oil apart from all the rest?
It's quality.
Yeah, tell us about that.
I think it's important for everyone to understand that the lavenders that are sold in the world today are problematic. The issues with lavender are too many to go into for this length of a podcast, but it's been shown by published research done out of NCNPR, the National Center for Product Research, as well as our own internal quality teams and science teams, that over 80% of the lavender sold on the market today is not lavender.
Well, it's amazing to me because as I look at that data, and I've read that literature, lavender oil is not an expensive oil. So why would we have a need to adulterate or create a synthetic lavender oil when it's not that expensive?
So I wish I could get into the minds of why people do the things that they do, but I think that it has to do with, even though it's not an expensive oil, the adulteration for profit is still profitable, more profitable, even with oils that can be produced at the same cost of lavender. It doesn't matter whether it's frankincense or lavender. It's just, can we increase our profit margin? And that's the question, I believe, that most of these kinds of companies are asking themselves, and that motivate them to do what they're doing.
And can that adulteration that we're talking about here, can that cause problems if I'm using it?
Certainly, depending on what you're adulterating with.
Yeah.
If you don't know what's in the bottle, you don't know how to use the product safely.
Yeah.
For instance, you can put, anything can end up in the bottle. It could be things that people are allergic to, things that are synthetic in origin, petrochemical based. Contamination can occur with all sorts of substances that can have effects on our health and wellness. So certainly, adulteration can lead to safety issues, but they also lead to quality issues and efficacy issues. If you think that lavender works a certain way, but it's not lavender that you're using, you cannot expect those results when you use a lavender that is of poor quality or highly adulterated. So unless your lavender is lavender, unless your lavender is consistent in its chemistry year to year and batch to batch, you can't rely on it the same way.
So let's talk about that consistency comment for just a minute.
Sure.
We've done a lot of research into consistency, and as we're using essential oils to obtain certain outcomes, certain benefits, that consistency is so very important. And when it varies, as it does in plants, how is it that doTERRA has overcome that question of how to be consistent about a natural substance in plants?
Yeah, thank you for that question, Dr. Riggs. I think that the most important thing to remember about consistency is the reason or the mechanism by how consistency of chemistry is achieved at doTERRA has to do with our sourcing model. Co-impact sourcing, as well as the large essential oil production lines that we have for things like lavender or wild orange or peppermint, we source lavender from multiple different places in the world. And when we bring those fields of lavender together and blend, we reduce variation. And that reduction in variation is what leads to consistency year to year and batch to batch. So if one field of lavender gets a little less water because Mother Nature had a little less water in that part of the world, other parts of our lavender supply chain make up for that, and we have what is an extremely consistent lavender, where the main chemical constituent, linalool, varies by approximately 1% year to year and batch to batch. It's quite remarkable, actually.
That is astounding, considering the variation, number one, that you see in the ISO standards of lavender, right? I mean, that's up to 50% difference in how much linalool can be in there.
Yeah, how much linalool, even lavendula acetate is allowed by the ISO standard to be at 0,
right?
Which you can't be lavender and have no lavendula acetate, but they allow that because these standards, the ISO standard in particular, is more industry friendly than it is customer friendly.
Yeah, it's amazing. To me, I find that interesting. Just as physicians, we know that there's variations in the things that we're sometimes prescribing in the amounts.
Certainly.
And to see that our product has tighter control over the active constituents than some of the things that we're even recommending and prescribing from a Western medical standpoint is nothing short of remarkable.
Yeah, that was actually really quite surprising to me when I found it. Within the pharmaceutical industry, you're allowed 5% on either side of a milligram claim in every pill that you create. Within doTERRA's lavender, we're 1%.
Yeah.
That's really astounding that we have achieved that level of consistency in our product. It was heretofore thought to be impossible in our industry. But lavender, when you get as big as doTERRA is and you have the supply chains that we do, that's what you can do with them.
Yeah, it's amazing. I read a recent article that indicated that 5% variation is now probably, as they've tested things, somewhere 10 to 12% on either side.
Depending on the medication and the amounts involved, certainly.
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic. Let's talk a little bit more about the co-impact sourcing model. Why is that important to doTERRA, that we're using a model in which we're empowering people on the other side of the bottle, not just those of us that are using lavender on a daily basis?
Co-impact sourcing is part of our DNA at doTERRA. It's who we are. And lavender is sourced in similar fashions. We are ensuring that when we source our lavender or source our geranium or source, you name your essential oil, that we are doing it in a manner that is impacting, truthfully, the families and the people who are growing our product. And we are impacting millions around the world in this fashion. The same way that we combine lavender together to achieve consistency from different parts of the world, when we are growing tea tree or geranium or any oil, really, in a co-impact sourced way, we do that but on a much smaller scale. So we take these 3-acre farms that we have 300 farmers with 3 to 5 acre farms, and we bring all of that together to one place. We distill that exactly the same way, under the exact same conditions, and if one farmer's plot of land didn't get enough water or had a problem, it gets completely reduced. The variation gets reduced to the point where now, even in smaller batch oils, think geranium, we now have consistent product, which is really quite neat.
It is. It's amazing. And this is the way we obtain consistent results when we use an oil, is because we can expect it to help time after time.
I think it's important to also state that, to my understanding, we are the only company that talks about this. Everybody else in the industry is actually talking about essential oils like fine wines, that they vary wildly from year to year, and they're very different from year to year. Well, that's problematic if you want to use an essential oil for a health and wellness reason. You need that oil to be the same from its chemical constituents perspective, year to year, batch to batch. doTERRA's figured that out. And like I said, Dr. Riggs, I think we're the only ones that can say that we do that.
I think we're the only ones that can. You know, we have a company here, of course, created by our founders, that went in a direction that allowed this early on. Had they not moved in the direction of empowering small farmers, et cetera, looking at the wisdom of we gain this from various locations, we would not be here. We stand on the shoulders of giants.
We really
case.
do. We really do. And I think that actually, I'll be honest, I don't think that when we started co-impact sourcing, we did it because we wanted chemical consistency.
Right. I don't think that was the plan.
We did it because we wanted to help the world heal.
Yeah.
And we have.
Yeah.
But what's happening as we do that, which is so neat, when you do the right things, really important things fall into place.
Yeah.
And what happened as we decided to do oil sourcing from an impact perspective is that we solved a problem that Mother Nature and that the industry itself thought that was unsolvable. Yeah. That we can't create an oil that has the same chemical constituency year to year and batch to batch. We have. And that allows us, as we talk about and share essential oils with others, the opportunity to share with them the power that comes from knowing that one drop of lavender oil will have the same impact on your body every year, every drop, every bottle that you buy from doTERRA. We're the only ones that you can say that about.
Yeah, it's amazing. When we first started using essential oils in our home, we had small children at the time. And of course, sleep is a major issue of small children, and parents of small children. Sure. And so we began using lavender oil, diffusing it in our bedrooms at night, putting on the bottoms of the feet of our children before bed. One of the things that we've made a routine in our home is using lavender oil and putting on the bottom of the feet of our children, because it allows a couple of things. Number one, it allows a one-on-one moment as parents at the end of the day to check in with our children. It allows a moment of physical touch, which really communicates to them our extreme love and devotion to them. And then, of course, it allows for a really amazing night's sleep. It supports that restful night's sleep.
Incredibly relaxing. Lavender has been known for years to be calming and relaxing. And I think that we have the opportunity at doTERRA to share lavender with the world in a way that will impact their families like you are describing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. One of the other things that we found, particularly as parents of boys, is that our boys love to spend time outside. They're always out in the world and in nature.
Girls like that too, Brandon.
They do. But my boys are a little bit more rough and tumble.
I get you.
They're coming in with their scrapes and cuts a little bit more often than my daughters are. And what we found with lavender, and insect bites as well, as we put lavender on that, it really does help them. It soothes it. It's calming to the skin. Yeah. It helps them feel so much better. And then there's actually literature out there supporting the natural process of healing from those things.
That's awesome.
Pretty cool.
Love that stuff.
Yeah. And then my wife has recently started to use lavender on some dryer balls. Have you ever done that?
No, not.
It's
I've not done that.
So wool dryer balls we use in our dryer, and then putting a couple drops of lavender on there, putting it in with the laundry as it dries in the dryer, and now all of a sudden your clothes come out smelling.
Wow. So
amazing.
You're actually suggesting that I might be able to be calm and relaxed throughout the day and not just the night?
You become your own personal diffuser.
Wow, that could be useful, Brannick. That could be useful.
Well, thank you, Dr. Osgathorpe, for joining us. It's been a pleasure hanging out with you.
Always fun, Brannick. Great to be with you.
And please, as you look at lavender, please find those daily uses. It is really an everyday use. It's one of those that you have to have in your home because of the variety of things that you can do with it, and then trust it because of the things that Dr. Osgathorpe has been teaching us about its quality and its purity. So thanks for joining us. Have a great day.
That wraps up today's episode on the science of doTERRA lavender. I hope you've gained some new insights into why this oil is a go-to for relaxation, skincare, and so much more. And if you have any questions or topics you'd love to hear about, let us know. We'll see you next time.